in my haste and to my earnest to kind of just get away from this and kind of just defuse after I talked about Far Cry and Ubisoft for over 20 minutes. I completely forgot about some goodness. I forgot about not Assassin. I forgot about Persona 5, it being released earlier this month in Japan, and I haven't really done a lot of research for this game because I've really wanted the story for myself to be to be uh, to be there in March when I'm probably able to play the game, even though it's going to be released in February because I may not have a PS4 to play it because I'm in college, but I've wanted to keep the story under wraps for myself, so I'll try and keep the story under wraps for you. Now, the first time that I played a Persona game, it was Persona 4 Golden on the PS Vita. Excuse me. And I absolutely fell in love with the game immediately. I loved the social link system. I loved the Japanese lore that was in the game. They added in these little goodies about Izanagi and Izanami and how Izanagi was the god of death and the underworld, or how it was maybe the other way around, how Izanami was the goddess of death. And it was just so cool to see them integrating a little bit of their lore into their game, as well as the story was just fantastic. The story was the story was one of the most organic things I've ever seen. I mean, it's up there with The Witcher 3 and how The Witcher 3 was very organic in the sense that you had a lot of decisions that you could make. And there wasn't really a right or wrong decision. It was just like, all right, people are going to die. You need to make a decision of what's going to be best for the people you want to protect. And it was very liberating to see that. It was very liberating to see that there wasn't a morality system in the game, and how in Persona 4 there is a morality system to an extent. Depending on what happens, you may or may not get the true ending, and I'll just leave the ending at that for Persona 4. But I mean, it just was a fantastic game. Then I played Persona 3. For me, it wasn't as good opening, of course, opening wise, as Persona 4, because I put in like 120 something hours. I got multiple endings for the game, and there are multiple endings to the Persona franchise if you haven't played it yet. And as soon as I started to get into the game, it picked up traction. It got great again, even though that these were completely different characters, and they were completely different characters, make no mistake. I got into the game and I started to love the game as much as I did love Persona 4 Golden. Now, Persona 5, again, I don't really want to spoil the game, so I won't. What I'll talk about is one of the most glaring things about Persona, the Persona series, excuse me. And that's the soundtrack. I'm gonna get the collector's edition. The soundtrack sounds fantastic. I don't know who composes it, but there are some of these like really poppy Japanese poppy sound, not sounds, but music. There is some very greatly composed tracks that are just instrumental and that are studio mixed and recorded, where they're just using like electronic instruments, and it just sounds great. It's the ba- the battle music is probably one of the best things about some of these games, and without going deep into the story, because again, I don't know that much about the story. I probably know the first 30 to 40 minutes about the story. It looks interesting. It looks interesting enough for me to have. And it may seem like I'm kind of just vaguely talking about this game, but because I really don't know a lot about this game. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for myself, but the gameplay is what's going to probably solve some of the issues with this video right now. I can talk about the gameplay. The gameplay looks interesting because there seems to be uh, like these this kind of like thief-like and kind of like stealth-like combat system, wherein the first couple of games, or more specifically Persona 4 and Persona 3, you could just run up to monsters and you pressed X and boom, you would initiate a fight. Now it's kind of like you need to sneak up on your enemies to be able to really just get on an even playing field with them. If you don't, then that'll be a problem. And I haven't really seen a lot of the cover-based system being used in the gameplay that I've seen, and because the game is released, some people have imported the game from Japan and have just played it with excuse me, with the Japanese audio. But the gameplay looks interesting enough. They've changed some things, but the core aspects of the gameplay have been there for 2 to 3 games and are still there, and I think that's very good for the series. Now, what can make this game bad for me? Because I don't want to be just like talking very positively about this game. I kind of want to be skeptical to an extent. What could really ruin this game? There's usually a lot of build-up with these games. There's usually a lot of meat with the story. And again, I don't know that much. I've heard a lot of good things about the game, but I don't know that much about it because, I haven't researched it because I don't want it spoiled for me. I think the ending could be very bad. There's been speculation that there could be some things from Persona 3 transferred into Persona 5. That, again, I will not spoil for you if you want to go back and you want to play Persona 3 and Persona 4. But it seems like a pretty decent game to me. And in February, the collector's edition will be delivered. I won't be able to play it though, so I'm gonna have to like play it on spring break or something like that when I go home. But I mean, it seems like a pretty good game. I'll try and learn more about what's going on in the game without actually knowing fully what's going on. And until then, I'll see you tomorrow for my Far Cry. And I'm a little bit tired. It's 1 o'clock. I'm a little bit tired because I just expunged some energy on talking about Far Cry and Assassin's Creed. But I will be talking about Far Cry and Call of Duty because I've really let the ball drop with Call of Duty, and I think a lot of people have. But it was good to talk about again, Persona, the Persona series. I really haven't done it justice because I want you guys to go out and go play it. But I'm excited for it. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit tired, but I'm very excited for Persona 5. I hope you are as well. Let's support Atlus. It seems like it's just trying to do good with the series. I hated Dancing All Night. I really wish they would have just made it into a full-length game. I really wish Persona Q was on the Vita and it wasn't the dungeon crawling game, because it seemed like an interesting concept, combining Persona 3 and Persona 4 and all of the cast members. Neither here nor there. I will see you tomorrow for Call of Duty and Far Cry. Till then, have a fantastic day. I will see you next time. This has been 24. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.